And today we're talking to Angel Bradford. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, I guess we're gonna start by asking you what we've been asking all our guests. What started, your interest in movies?
Honestly, my parents, my mom and dad were always watching, movies, and they always tended to be on the horror side.
Yeah.
One of the first scary movies I remember seeing, um, like I have a memory of myself being in my high chair watching Stephen King's It, the miniseries, the miniseries,
Mhm.
the one that came out in the 90s, and I had such fear of going to my bathroom afterwards and going near the drain. Um, but then it kind of like snowballed, from there. Like watched Pumpkinhead and Creep
Mhm.
Show and Amityville 2, which is like my favorite horror movie. Um, and from watching those movies, I got my interest in makeup, and I've always wondered, how they killed people in movies, how they made
Mhm.
it look so realistic. Not only that, but the creatures. Fluffy from Creepshow is my
Yeah.
favorite. And Pumpkinhead, classic makeup, outfit, everything. And I wanted to make that. I wanted to create those creatures. And honestly, before I got into like acting, my dream was to be like a concept creator,
Mhm.
making like coming up with different creatures and characters that were completely original. Which I can still do that,
Yeah.
there's nothing stopping me from doing that. But um yeah.
So what was it that made you do the segue into acting?
I really enjoy being able to explore every like facet of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The first movie that I acted in was Dwayne Etheridge's Slumber Party Slaughter Party 2.
Hmm.
And I didn't even, he had asked me to read as an understudy for another, a part in the movie. And I sent him my audition, and he ended up making me the lead of the film. And from there, everything just started happening.
I'm actually looking forward to working with him someday. I know that I'm casted in two different movies of his coming up. I know he's
Yeah.
just had, the big surgery and everything, but
Yes.
I look
Um,
forward to it. I think that's going to be great.
yeah, there's a couple more that I'm working with him on. His Halloween slasher,
Hmm.
and Bloody Hooker Massacre.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm in, or one of the ones
Cool.
I'm in. Yeah.
Hey. Funny enough, the first movie I ever did makeup on was Backwoods Bubba.
Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I remember meeting you on that. I remember talking to you and Paul.
Yeah. He's at work right now, unfortunately. He was excited to hear that I was doing a podcast with you.
Oh, nice. Uh, yeah, I only met him that one time, but he was real cool.
Yeah.
Um,
uh, have you worked with Brad again since?
I have. We
I know
filmed.
Martian Massacre.
Yeah, we filmed a little bit of Terrible T Rex, and I'm actually supposed to go back. What's funny is we filmed it maybe I'd say about 5 months ago, if not more. And now we're going back and filming more of it. I'm like, my hair is like 3-4 inches longer, so it's gonna be interesting. But I'm supposed to film on Tuesday. It's creative angle fix it. Which by the time this airs, it would have already been filmed. So I'm like, everybody listening to this is gonna hear it past tense. But yeah.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I actually love working with Brad. Before we did Backwoods Bubba, I'd done a short film with him, and I just love how laid back he is about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And he just has that classic, boobs and gore,
Mhm.
outlook on movies, and it's great,
Yeah,
totally 80s.
and I love that he's very like aware of that. He's wanting to make bad movies. Like that's
Hmm.
what he's trying to make. I've seen people that are trying to make good movies make bad movies and not have that awareness. He's like, no, this is what I'm making. I'm making the bad movies,
Yeah.
and I respect that.
Yeah, that's his niche.
Yeah,
It fits him.
yeah. No, yeah, when I first met him, he had told me about how he loves Roger Corman movies. So
Yeah.
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 As far as like, have you done makeup stuff on like a bunch since Backwoods Bubba, or
So I did makeup on Night of the Axe. There's another short series that I'm going to be doing makeup on starting in April. But honestly, it's really been, more of just acting. I did a
okay.
lot of makeup on The House That Eats Flesh. I
Mhm.
worked with Ariel Stafford on that, and acted as well.
And we just
Um,
interviewed or had Lydia on a podcast, Lydia Manson last night. So
I love her so much. She is my set sister from another mister.
she
So
was
I
so
classify her.
fun to have up here too. Like just a blast. Um,
Y'all talked about Beetlejuice, right?
yeah, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and it just so happened we recorded it on the 34th anniversary of the movie coming out. Nobody knew that that was the thing until I guess everybody was looking at the trivia and it was like 34 years ago to the day.
It was meant to be.
Yep.
We were meant to talk about Beetlejuice.
Is it by chance like the anniversary of the jerk or
Well,
anything?
let's
Probably
see.
not.
No.
Can't look up
That'd
twice
be
like that.
awesome if it was.
All right, had it up earlier. Uh,
um,
I
but
was
yeah,
just
no, working with Lydia is amazing. I worked with her on House of Eats Flesh. I worked with her on Go Straight to Hell.
Mhm.
Her and I went to Texas together, and we're manning a table at Cult Classic.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we're definitely going to be working together on something else soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Like I know I was trying to have my first full length film like a while back and that fell apart, but like I'm gonna try. I got another, actually two different ideas, but I'm trying to decide which one I'm gonna do first. But I'm leaning towards one I'm calling Slasher Camp Massacre, which is all these different slasher killers attacking the same summer camp at the same time. Um,
Oh, cool.
and so I'm gonna try to get her and you and everybody else that was gonna be in that in this.
Yeah, I trust me, like you'll love working with her.
Yeah, I
She's
get.
very versatile and easygoing.
And funny.
Um, oh my God. She cracks me up. Like I remember being on the scene, or on the set for Go Straight to Hell, and she was just sitting there playing with red blood on this long white fluffy rug. I'm like, Lydia, what are you doing? And she's like, it's blood. Like, it's just so awesome. um, but
that's
yeah.
Oh, so yeah, it's no anniversary of the jerk or
December
anything.
14th,
Oh,
1979. So
Oh well.
it's
But
okay.
yeah,
We
yeah.
we can just make it an anniversary.
The whole entire reason that I decided to choose the jerk was because when we're working on Martian Massacre, you were singing that I'm picking out a thermos for you.
It's my favorite song.
yeah, he said that, and it just kind of boiled down to like, well, she's probably seen it, right?
I figured
I
like, for you to just
I've
randomly
seen
be
it
singing.
so many times.
Yeah, I was about to say for you to randomly be singing that, you had to have seen it at least a few.
Yeah. I think that's the only movie that I've seen with Bernadette Peters in it.
We were actually talking about, or I was talking about Bernadette Peters,
Mhm.
like how you watch The Jerk, and she should have been a big star in movies. I mean, she was a big star on Broadway,
Yeah.
but she really only did like a handful of movies. That and Heart Beeps, where she plays a robot, and another movie with Steve Martin called Pennies from Heaven.
And I
Oh,
haven't seen either of
cool.
those.
Yep.
I haven't either, but I'm gonna have to check them out.
I mean, she's great in The Jerk.
Pennies from Heaven is
Yeah.
really good. Nobody ever saw it.
Is
Uh,
it is that like a comedy or a romance
it
or?
is a musical drama set in the Great Depression, starring Steve Martin.
Wow.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's something. Christopher Walken's in it. He's got a pretty lengthy dance number in it.
Oh wow, I love Christopher Walken.
Wow.
Yeah,
Especially Christopher Walken dancing.
yeah. I mean, other than you get the Fat Boy Slim video, I guess.
Oh.
Danced in a few things.
Yeah, it's usually kind of just shimmy thing. He does a full on like Gene Kelly Fred
Yeah.
Astaire style dance number this movie though.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Well, what is that called? Hold on, I'm gonna write it down.
Pennies from Heaven
Okay.
has a fantastic poster too. I'm not looking at it. I was looking up the Jerks VHS release date because I was still trying to stretch this whole like we could be doing something like anniversary. It's like maybe it came out today. No.
You're just trying to.
I'm stretching really on that because I mean I'm trying to recreate the magic of like happening to record a Beetlejuice podcast on the day it came out.
So, Angel, like, when's the first time that you remember seeing The Jerk?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I believe I watched it with my mom for the first time, probably like, in my like teenage years when I was like 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had been a while until I watched it again. And then I actually bought it. It's on my Amazon Prime. I have it on there so I can watch it whenever I want. Because anybody that I meet, even on my last podcast, I was like, you guys have to watch The Jerk.
Yeah. It's
But
one of my
even
favorites.
Paul loves it. Like,
Mhm.
I showed it to him and like we quote it all the time.
Yeah. Such a some of the jokes are so silly too. The whole movie.
Yes.
I love it. I remember I would say I was maybe in fifth or sixth grade when I first watched it. My mom's then husband had recommended I watch it because he knew I love comedy. He's like, "You need to
Hmm.
watch The Jerk," and I'm like, watched it and loved it. Um,
Yeah.
and like Jared will attest that like the whole time we were watching it, I was just quoting the whole movie the whole time, like saying the stuff very annoyingly. It's probably terrible to watch that movie with me.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
I would be the same way though. My
Yeah,
name is
I hated when people do
Bug.
that. I tried to be polite by not saying anything, but inside I really want to just tell them to shut up.
You're internally screaming, stop.
Just inside my own heart, I'm just screaming like a madman.
All that would happen if you said that to me is I'll turn off the movie and then just start quoting it from beginning to end.
So you're gonna get the movie one way or the other.
It's like, you think you're as good as Steve Martin, Brian?
No, I think I'm way
Just
worse,
shut
but
up.
that's your punishment for interrupting me. Um,
I,
what was-
I think my favorite part in the movie, I mean, there's so many. Like I love. I mean, it's really hard for me to pick a favorite part. But the scene that really like sticks out to me, and I don't know why, but you going where are you headed? To the end of this
oh,
fence? Okay.
and then he like I forgot what he like. He is like, so I'm Nathan Howie. Oh, we're here.
Yep. That, and then it's like St. Louis. No, Navin R. Johnson. No, I'm going to St. Louis.
I was just reading the IMDb trivia. That was apparently an improv by Steve Martin. Apparently, there was a different line.
Really?
Yeah, he just like threw that out there.
That's so cool. That's why he's such a great actor.
Yeah. And I mean, like, so Steve Martin, like, this was after he had done all that Saturday Night Live, or
Yeah.
during. Would it have been
Yeah.
kind of during?
It's during that time.
Yeah.
It's right when he was winding down his stand-up career.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the movie has The Jerk has like a lot of his stand-up bits that he would do, like later in the movie when he's leaving his house and he's like, I don't need anything except for these matches and everything. And that was like one of his stand-up bits he would do.
And my favorite bit of that part is when the dog growls at him and he's like, well, maybe I don't need my dog.
Yeah.
I love that part so much. I love the cat juggling thing, even though it's so ridiculous. And then
Oh
it's Steve
my
Martin as the cat
gosh.
juggler. And what was he
Yes.
credited as? I forgot.
Pig Eye Jackson.
Yeah, so in the credits, he's credited as Pig Eye Jackson for that role. And I googled Pig Eye Jackson, and it just came up with Steve Martin. So I'm like, that's kind of funny too.
Yeah, the cat juggling's probably my second favorite scene in the movie. I think it's because I have a love of fake violence against pets. I don't know why. It's like, it freaks people out whenever you have like a clearly fake animal, but it's like you blow up a cat, and it's like, oh no. It's like it's one of my dreams to make a slasher movie where the slasher just kills a lot of animals.
Oh God.
Yeah, his whole like the whole time that he's at the gas station, like you see so many, like different, like he's just like in amazement at everything. He's like, oh my God, I can put the kitchen here and I'll sleep here. And he's just so excited to be living in this bathroom.
I love where he opens the other urinal and he's like, this must be the kitchen. No.
Yeah, the church, when he puts the church on the car.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, if you see a car, this car dragging a small church, that's probably it.
His intelligence level definitely
it fluctuates
scene to scene. That's what I haven't seen it in probably about 10 years, and watching it I was like, I forgot how episodic it was. Like it goes from gag to gag.
Yeah.
And it's like Maven sometimes doesn't seem like he'd be able to take care of himself, and other times he's not too stupid.
Yeah.
When he gets out of the car wearing the feather, and then his dog also has a feather.
Just laughing at that. Like the biggest feather they could find, apparently.
Yeah. I love. I don't know why I laugh so much at whenever dude's shooting him at the gas station. He's just like saying, "Die, you run of the mill," blah blah blah.
Yeah,
just keep saying stuff like that.
All of these weird insults.
Die, gas pumper.
Which it's like that's Emmett Walsh. It's like his second scene is like when he's done chasing him, is like he's just drenched in sweat, sweating through his suit. It's just there's so many.
What does he say? He just had a divorce and just gave up smoking.
Quit smoking.
Yeah,
turned into a serial killer. It's one of those movies, and it's so different because we've talked before on not a podcast, but about The Naked Gun. And that's a movie that's like just crammed with gags, but it's a completely different type of movie than The Jerk. The Jerk is just so many gags.
Yeah.
Like it never stops.
And like he wasn't afraid to like, push boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like they they say the N-word in the movie.
Yeah.
Like it's just like for its time, it's fucking fantabulous. It's just a gem. Steve Martin is a gem. And the way that he was careful, about how the movie went in certain parts too. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate, like, I don't know, it just the range, from where it goes to him, being like super, super poor, and then him gaining all this fame, and then him going back to poor, but then like his family came back and got him, and it was a happy ending. It was cool.
Watching it, it was like, and it wasn't even a trope then, but it's like the movie's structured like a standard biopic.
Yeah,
like Walk the Line or Ray or like any of the music biopics, especially. It's like that whole like rags to riches to rags to something else again. Like it almost comes off like a parody of that type of movie before those types of movies were around enough to be parodied.
This is shit. Shinola. Shit. Shinola.
You're gonna be all right.
I loved how his dad was so happy no matter how much money he sent him. He's like, that's a good boy. Like,
Yeah.
sent him like just a few cent one, and he was still happy.
His dog. His dog, shithead.
Yeah. I'm going to call you Lifesaver. Don't call that dog Lifesaver. Call him Shithead.
Shithead.
I love the interaction.
Pops in the bath with him and everything. That's
And not you, Shithead.
right. Yeah, so Bernadette's role in this, basically she's a cosmetologist, right?
Yeah.
And doing all the facial masks and everything. The her little kid that she brought to the park is wearing a shirt that says bullshit.
Yeah.
What was like, there was another kid, and he's like, I saw him wearing a t-shirt. It's like life sucks or something. It's like, was that a thing in the 70s, or is that something he found funny?
I don't know.
Something I would love to try though, pizza in a cup.
Yeah,
What?
that actually sounds. It sounds like it'd be really hot and possibly burn your mouth. I don't know, but like,
That sounds perfect.
I just take some mozzarella cheese and some pepperoni and some pizza sauce and throw it in the microwave. And I think
actually that might. Yeah, just buy a pizza, scrape it off into a cup. Just scrape off the top.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna make a TikTok putting pizza in a cup.
Microwave.
Yeah. Oh, but you talking about her being a cosmetologist? That joke, or they immediately after her telling him that, he was like, "Wow, how do you handle weightlessness?"
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Their relationship is just funny when he's trying to kiss her at the beach and she's like,
She's pulling away. Yeah, I was dying laughing at that. There's a joke that I think has been ruined by Blu-ray and stuff like that, because there's a part where she's asleep, and I remember on VHS, whenever you look at her eyes closed, it looks like they're open still because of for the makeup she has on her eyes. But
yeah,
when they upgraded it to like DVD, Blu-ray, and everything like that, you don't see like the same exact look. It looks a little clearer. And I think that joke got ruined because it was like, "Oh, good, you're awake," and which was it was supposed to be funny because the audience knows she's asleep, but it looks like she's awake. Yeah, that joke got killed due to technology.
I feel like I remember seeing that like once or twice.
Mhm.
Not recently, because the copy I have now is, on digital media, but I do feel like I remember seeing that scene.
Yeah, like Bryan mentioned it last night. I was like, yeah, that was the case, wasn't it? That was the whole gag.
Yeah, and I think that like just clearer image ruined it. Yeah.
Technology ruined the movie.
Yeah, technology. Damn you, technology.
It's gonna ruin everything.
This was Steve Martin at kind of the begening of his movie career.
This was his first movie, wasn't it?
Not quite, but close. This was his first starring role, I believe. Oh, geez, back to IMDb I go.
Well, I guess I was meaning for starring.
How old is he in this?
Well, see, he's actually younger than he looks. Like his hair has been gray, like
since he was in his 20s.
So I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but he wouldn't have been that old, I don't think.
He probably was in his 30s.
Yeah, probably 30s.
All right.
He's typing slow, so we're just.
No, my phone is going slow. I'm typing fast. Let's see.
We're trying to find out.
Good old Steve Martin. Geez, he was 34 years old.
34.
Wow.
And he looks like a 50-year-old man.
It's just the gray hair. I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have probably said he was maybe in his 40s.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would have thought too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, Steve Martin only has 67 credits in his entire career.
Oh wow.
So this was indeed his first starring role.
Wow. Well, he nailed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Everything else before that was like him showing up as himself, just doing his stand-up bits,
Mm-hmm.
and then his bit in the Muppet movie. So
Oh.
there you go.
You ever see his Saturday Night Live stuff?
No.
Like he had some crazy stuff. Like he had this thing where he had a song called King Tut, and it's so ridiculous because everything he sung in that song had jack to do with the real King Tut.
Yeah, which is referenced in the Jerk because he has a King Tut medallion, like
A
when he's wearing
room or
the gold ring.
something. Yeah, there's a reference to that. I remember seeing the pharaoh face or whatever.
But definitely look that up on YouTube. It's worth watching. Look up Steve Martin, King Tut, and all that other stuff.
But
From Saturday Night Live.
yeah, I guess it didn't hit me until just now looking at it that this was the start of his movie career.
Mm-hmm.
And geez, I mean, it feels like he's always been around. Like you kind of realize that by the time you get to something like Trains or Planes, Trains, Automobiles, he'd only been doing that for like 8 years.
Wow. Have you guys seen that the show that he's in? Murders,
No,
only murders in the building.
No, it's like, and I saw like him and Martin Short, and it's like, oh, I really want to watch that. And
what?
It,
What is
it's
that on?
it's worth a watch.
Hulu.
Hulu. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I
really
guess I'm
bad
gonna
with
sign up for
TV
that.
though. It's like I've got Hulu and I never watch it. It's like people
There's
recommend shows. I'm like,
there's gonna be a season 2.
Okay.
I need to catch up then.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign up
Yeah,
and watch that.
Which I guess that spoils that neither him nor Martin Short get murdered in the first season.
Yeah, I guess that ruins that. Now we know that they make it through.
Nah, I'm not gonna watch it now.
shame on me. My bad.
Um,
I think that was obvious.
yeah. Um,
Damn these glasses.
does anybody else think it's funny, like whenever he gets rich, how he tries to talk and change his like way of speaking? Like I can't even do it, but
Like
it's like
sophisticated.
yeah,
Yeah, the beginning of his interview clip where he's like talking about
they
yeah,
All the rings on his
Yeah.
fingers. Well, that was ridiculous.
I love that girl with the mohawk from the carnival, like and like
the biker when she beats him down, she's like, I did that without hate.
she's like did this without anger.
When they're in the Ferris wheel and he's like, "Oh, is that my name's tattooed on your ass?"
And then whenever Bernadette Peters like confronts them and he's like, "Oh, she has my name tattooed on her ass. She has lots of people's names tattooed up there."
Tattooed on her ass. It's like the phone book.
Oh, speaking of the scene where he's excited about the phone book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is so funny.
It feels like that one was because I pointed that out. It looks so different from the rest of the movie. Like it's all handheld and it's like I wonder if they just improv that. Like, hey, they're delivering phone books. Steve, you want to do something with that?
Oh, you mentioned an improv reminded me about the scene where he's like going to kiss her and he like licks her face. That is apparently like improv, and if you look at her face, like that's a natural reaction because you weren't expecting him to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what scene it's on right now because it's the dog's running away. He's like, "Go on, just go." No, come back.
I love that.
When he's at the carnival and he's like, "Step right up and win some crap."
Oh yeah. And him trying to explain what section they'll win from, he's like, between this and this, this is 3 inches right here.
I think it's. I know we've mentioned improv quite a bit. But I think that's one of the things that I guess comedians at that time kind of excelled at was the correct way to improv,
Yes.
which you don't see a lot now. Which it's, with Steve Martin, it's looking Bernadette Peters in the face, or just a quick like St. Louis, no, Nathan Johnson.
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like one like thing that people always try to do whenever they start improving is just going on and on and on, and that's not what improv should be.
Yeah.
It should have a purpose. It shouldn't be like just you talking nonstop.
Yeah.
It's what I think improv turned into.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, if you look at movies like I mean, I love the movie, but Bridesmaids, that's kind of what that is. It's just nonstop improv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you go to something like, I mean, not just Steve Martin, but like Bill Murray.
Mhm.
The "This Man Has No Dick" line
Oh
in
yeah, from
Ghostbusters was
Ghostbusters.
completely improv.
But it's like short and to the point. This man has no dick.
Not like a long story. Not him just trying to, I don't know, weasel his way to a joke. It's just that.
I also wonder about when she's throwing the knives
Mhm.
and where they land on him. I'm wondering how they actually like did that, you know, throwing the knives. That
I'm
was
sure.
real or not.
I'm sure that it was just like a cut that they did for that.
Or
Like
reverse.
a quick like whip
Or
pan or something.
it could have been a reverse, just him pulling a knife out.
Yeah, because we were literally talking about something similar with Beetlejuice,
Hmm.
where it's like they were just like, just run it backwards. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do think
What
it.
year did Beetlejuice come out?
88.
Yeah,
88. Yeah. Mm,
We, we
mm.
we covered everything we could about Beetlejuice, I
and
think,
more.
and everything else.
Uh, I do think it's funny when she's throwing them knives like that. Like it was almost like perfectly lined up with where the balloon was, where it stabbed. Like it just went
Yeah.
down.
And she got upset. She's like, "Oh,
I
couldn't
admit,
pop the balloon."
I popped the balloon. I like the way she said that balloon too.
Yeah.
Some of her
Balloon.
line deliveries are great. Like when she comes in after they've lost all their money, she's like, it's like, I was listening to a song that reminded me of the way we were. It's like, what song was it? The way we were.
We were.
I I absolutely love the gag of whenever they're doing tonight. What's the name of the song? I
You
know
belong to
tonight you
me.
belong to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but when I'm doing that, she just pulls the saxophone out of nowhere or whatever, the trumpet,
The
whatever it is.
trumpet.
Yeah.
Trumpet.
Yeah.
I don't know musical instruments, but yeah.
That's
He
my
was
favorite
like,
thing.
and
That you could
I
tell
would
you're
love to go right through there and straight to your lips.
I didn't want to get spit on me.
Yeah, that whole musical part is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Which I'm a sucker for musicals, so
Well,
like
I don't like musicals, and I still like it.
there you go. Probably like Pennies from Heaven because it feels a lot like that scene.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'm a musical fan myself. I think my favorite is Chicago.
See, I only like musicals that are like super funny. Like I love Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah, that one's
Also,
great. Yeah,
Steve Martin
Yeah, Steve
in
Martin.
a key role.
yeah.
So if it's not really ridiculously funny, I probably don't like it.
So you wouldn't be up for watching Singing in the Rain.
Mm,
It's kind of fun.
I've seen it before, but
Okay.
not really my thing.
Yeah.
Which I got a feeling that he's gonna make me watch a bunch of stuff I don't want to watch on this
Oh yeah,
podcast.
yeah. I'm already hitting him with some puppets that
He's making me watch The Labyrinth, and I hate puppets. So,
he hates
You
puppets.
have
He
to
hates
expand your repertoire.
which is weird.
Expand
It's
it.
weird. I hate puppets, but I love the Gremlins, and I love it. I think it's like if the movie's majority puppets, I got a problem. If it is like just sprinkle some puppets in there, I'm all right.
I think we also figured out that you like kind of slimy, leathery.
Yeah,
puppets.
I like the creepy looking puppets. I don't like the mesh looking puppets.
Nah.
Yeah, the puppets that look like way too human, kind of freak me out. Like, the Mr. Rogers neighborhood
God.
puppets
I was
compared to like
Those things are
compared to
freaky.
like the Dark Crystal, puppets.
Oh, I love Dark Crystal. I'm
I'm not.
Yeah.
trying to find an angle to make him watch
See,
it.
my ex girlfriend made me watch both of those, and I was traumatized ever since. Because
Oh my god! Really?
yeah, I'm like, how dare you make me watch this puppet stuff?
Telling you, you're gonna be watching puppets and musicals, puppet musicals.
Like, came up with an idea for a movie, and like, it was like, I'm gonna make puppets for it, and I'm like, giving them specifics. I'm like, they can't be like fluffy puppets. They got to be like these creepy, like gremlin or ghouly puppets. Yeah.
It's like, and it was like, all I heard was like, let's make a bunch of Muppets.
I actually haven't watched the Muppets in a long time.
Do it. If you got Disney Plus, they have put the majority of the Muppet Show up there.
Okay, yeah, I do have
And
Disney
some of those you
Plus.
just kind of pick and choose, but like some of them, like the Steve Martin episode is great. The Elton John episode is awesome. Um, some of them, not as much, but it's always at least fun. Which I'm a huge mark for anything Jim Henson did. So
Yeah. Did Lydia tell you that she met Jim Henson?
no,
Or in his studio? Yeah, she went to his studio and got to see a whole bunch of awesome stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
Mhm.
Now we have to have her back on to talk about that.
I've walked past the studio, but I never went to it.
Yeah,
See,
I
your
think, I'm
puppets.
pretty
Yeah, my
sure,
favorite
I'm like
puppets kept me out.
90% sure she's been in there. I was going to say something else. Oh, as far as puppets go, um, you didn't find Gizmo cute?
Oh no, I love Gizmo. I
Yay!
like
Okay.
I say, you got to hit me with small amounts of puppets. You can't give me.
It's his leathery eyelids that make him seem less.
It's the Howie
And his
Mandel voice
little
that makes
leathery
me like,
hands.
yes, this is okay. So Howie Mandel helped.
It's barely a voice.
I like Gizmo though. I like Gizmo.
Yeah,
I had a cat
Gizmo's
named
cool.
Gizmo, so I really like Gizmo.
But
So as far as this movie goes, like I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I love just how far he's come.
yeah,
It's
it's strange. I mean, like he basically started as this like incredibly like weird, silly stand-up comic, and that was where he went. Now he's this like he's this award-winning writer. He's written novels and
He's a musician.
he's been touring with his bluegrass band for the past like decade. I missed out on a chance to meet him about 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
how'd you miss out on it?
He was actually not too far from here, promoting. There was a bluegrass festival that they were doing in Raleigh, and part of the promotion was like literally Steve Martin was at, believe it or not, some car dealership, like sponsored with one of the radio stations, and it was like he was hanging out there all day, and it was like never made it out there. I had to work.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Dang.
and I kind of want to get tickets to see him and Martin Short this fall. They're going to be in Durham, I think. And I've heard
They
that their show is just a blast.
Yeah, and they worked so well together on that show, Only Murders in the Building. Like, they're two peas in a pod.
Yeah, you've seen Three Amigos, haven't you?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
yes. I don't know if y'all watched The Masked Singer, but there is a clue. There was a Three Amigos clue for one of the singers on there, Hydra, which is a three-headed monster, and there's a Three Amigos clue with that. So people were guessing possibly Martin Short and Steve Martin and Chevy Chase.
Nah, I wouldn't bet on Chevy Chase. As funny as he is, he seems to not like fun very much.
And apparently, a lot of people, like other comedians, other people, don't like Chevy Chase. I found out.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
didn't Bill Murray punch him in the face?
Oh yeah, Bill Murray punched him. This was back in the 70s.
Yeah, 70s.
This was in
Saturday Night Live that
mhm.
did it. Yeah.
It's in the book, Live from New York, and it was basically Chevy Chase, for as much as he's known for Saturday Night Live, was there for one season, and he left
Huh.
and you know went to Hollywood to make movies.
Yeah,
And
National Lampoons.
this is way before that, actually. This was the
Really?
mid-70s. Yeah, this was like
Oh.
good 7 years before that. Like, but he went out there. He kind of abandoned guys that were his friends, and Bill Murray was brought in pretty much as his replacement.
Yeah.
So they embraced Bill Murray. He was just part of the team, and then like the season after that, Chevy Chase comes back to the show to host, and he came in with like this colossal ego, like kind of striking down like these jokes that were written for him because he didn't like him, and he pretty much rubbed Bill Murray the wrong way, and Bill Murray punched him in the face.
And then
Oh, I mean, I guess if you deserve it.
whenever they made Caddyshack, they had one scene together in that movie, and everybody was so afraid that they would fight or whatever, and they ended up doing the scene perfectly, and nothing went wrong. So everybody was so worried.
I, I I think my favorite part of the story, because I think it was Al Franken was the one telling it in the book. Um, After Bill Murray punched him, he knocked him down, and Bill Murray walked away, stopped, turned around, and just yelled the phrase "medium talent" at Chevy Chase as like the biggest insult he could think of, and then just continued walking away.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I mean, coming from Bill Murray, I mean, shit. I don't
It,
even know what to say.
it
Damn.
just sounds like the most Bill Murray insult that could be thrown.
I did hear that he was kind of an ass on the show Community.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Richard Pryor hated him too. Like there's actually, if you look it up, there is I believe it's the Johnny Carson show, if I'm not too badly mistaken. They're both on it on the same episode, and like Chevy keeps making these remarks toward Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor stops at one point, looks at Johnny, he's like, "I hate Chevy Chase." Which
Damn, I wonder. I'm gonna have to like Google that and see how many people hate him.
it's probably a lot.
I wonder if there's like an actual list of like people that he's like
Uh,
insulted
it's an
and.
endless list, I'm sure. But now, speaking of like Saturday Night Live guys, Bill Murray shot a scene for The Jerk that was cut and has never been released.
What?
Yep.
Yep.
He joked about it on Saturday Night Live when Bill Murray was part of the cast, and Steve Martin was hosting, like promoting The Jerk, and Bill Murray was like, "Yeah, I shot a scene, and it was cut, but that doesn't influence my opinion in this movie in any way. But I'll be honest, the movie's a dog, and I don't know. There's something missing about it. Like there was somebody that was supposed to be there that I don't know. Something's wrong with it." And I've seen that clip as soon as I was reading that, and it's like, oh yeah, because I used to like pretty much just mainline like all the old Saturday Night Lives, skipping a good portion in the early '80s, but yeah, I remember seeing that clip, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that Bill Murray. I thought it was a joke, but yeah, apparently he did shoot something that just didn't work with the flow of the movie.
Dang, I wish I knew what it was.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, there's not even any clips of it. Or
No,
anything.
well, I mean, it probably if it exists, they've never released it.
Wow.
It would be
I'm
awesome
like,
if
that's
it did.
something that even the deep, dark, videos of YouTube can't find.
No, weirdest stuff pops up on YouTube, stuff that you never would think you would see. Like I remember just a few years ago when what was it, the screen test for Henry Cavill as Superman, but from like a different Superman movie before he actually got cast. It was like,
Oh,
how did that leak out?
Huh.
And Brian and I have talked about it, like the Shrek footage with Chris Farley as the voice of Shrek.
and that's the greatest thing ever. Like
What?
you'll actually hear recordings of Chris Farley like doing the dialogue, and it is great.
Yeah, he would have been great.
Huh.
I actually really wish that Chris Farley would have lived to be Shrek, as opposed, because like I think it would have been a more fun movie. With it being as
Yeah.
fun as it is already, I think it would have been even more fun.
Well, I mean, and the kicker is that he completed it. he completed the movie, and they
Wow.
they took him out because they already had in mind that it was going to be a franchise, and first they didn't want to have to deal with like a press tour where the star of the movie had been dead for 4 years at that point, and they didn't want to have to recast, so they went ahead and recast before the movie even came out, and that's how it ended up with Mike Myers.
I'm gonna write that down too. I want to listen to that.
And of
Speaking of
course,
Chris Farley, I think the oldest SNL episode that I watched probably had Chris Farley. No, actually, I watched one with Dan Aykroyd. I know Dan Aykroyd used to be
Oh,
on there.
that would have been in the 70s.
unless he was hosting or something.
Yeah. Everybody comes back.
But yeah, that would have been Dan Aykroyd was one of the original cast members.
So, and he left.
Chris Farley is Shrek. I can just hear it.
You can hear it, and it sounds exactly like you think if you see the footage.
And of course, Mike Myers was the one that decided to make him Scottish.
Yeah. Yeah, like, he decided that after he'd recorded, like, most of his dialogue, that it'd be funnier if he was Scottish, and it cost the production, like, another $4 million to go back and fix it. Because he couldn't just re-record, they had to, like, resync the entire, like, animation to this new accent that he
Yeah,
wanted to do.
that's insane.
Yeah, these Saturday Night Live guys are crazy.
Did Steve Martin ever do any like voices for any animated things?
No, I don't think he ever has.
I don't.
Unless he did it under, like, a pseudonym or something. Actually, I still have his IMDb up, so let's see. No, 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 no. Oh, he was in an episode of The Simpsons, and that's about it.
That counts.
Actually, that episode of The Simpsons is indeed the only voice work he has. No, there was an animated movie, Home, where he apparently voices a character. Weird. But yeah, other than that,
So two.
an episode of
Only
The
two.
Simpsons and Home.
Wow.
That shattered my entire image of Steve Martin. Now I just see him as a hack.
Why? Because he's done only two.
Oh, no, he did that movie Home. Father of the Bride 3?
What? Oh, no.
That's a short. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
I was freaking out for a second.
Yeah. Steve Martin is and has always been one of my favorite comedians. What's that movie? It wasn't him in Parenthood, was it?
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah. I remember him being in that with the curly-haired lady. I can't remember her name.
Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, and I feel like I've tried to see everything that he's in besides, the SNL stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And apparently,
but
Father of the Bride 3. That's going to haunt me now for the rest of the night.
I think my favorite thing with him in it, as far as movies go, other than The Jerk, is probably Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like that.
yeah, with
hilarious.
John Candy.
Yeah, that's great. I miss John Candy, too.
Oh yeah, John Candy did great. Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck is probably my favorite John Candy
Oh
movie.
God, I love that movie so much. Like we used to have a car that backfired just like that whenever I was a little kid. And surprised everybody. I grew up poor and I still am, but I had a friend that was very wealthy and got dropped off at his like mansion of a house to a loud backfire by our car, which was just fun. It's like poor people are here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve Martin. And we did an episode, well, as of the recording of this last week. This is going to, like, I think they're going to be released like 3 weeks apart. So, but we were talking about Mel Brooks, and I brought up, was like, oh, Mel Brooks is a comedic genius. And I was like, yeah, Steve Martin is definitely in that category. And not just that, but like, I mean, he's done plenty of dramatic stuff. Like you brought up Parenthood.
Yep.
And it's like he does a lot of dramatic work in that movie, and he's one of those actors that you could see him like you could see the gears turn briefly, and then like he just completely like will turn on a dime. I remember the scene in Parenthood where he's kind of filling in at his kid's birthday party as like as a makeshift cowboy and like trying to do balloon animals.
Yeah.
Oh, you bringing up
Hmm.
the Mel Brooks episode reminded me. So Carl Reiner directed The Jerk, and Carl Reiner was Mel Brooks's comedy partner. Like they did the 2,000-Year-Old Man. So there's an interesting connection to the two episodes.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah, that is
every
a cool
episode's gonna
connection.
connect like a web.
Yes, I don't know
Right.
how, being that we're just going to talk about any and every movie ever, but yes,
Yeah, I'm gonna hit somebody with a dart backward and see if they can actually.
I'm just ready to do an episode about The Room. Get the Tommy.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my God,
Oh
do it!
man, yeah, we were talking about like when you were talking about Brad makes intentionally bad movies. If you've never, you know the reputation of The Room, right?
I've heard that it's really awful.
It's awful, but in a charmingly stupid way.
It's like this movie that you
Okay.
just can't stop watching. You're just like,
And imagine if an alien came to Earth, saw like one like Lifetime movie, and then decided I'm going to make that with the little knowledge I have of humanity. It feels like something that wasn't made by like if you've ever seen online where like we fed all these keywords to an AI bot and we had him like spit out like a script or something. The Room kind of feels like that. Like it wasn't made by a human.
Huh.
Like
Okay.
all it's not streaming anywhere, and I think that was by design. You almost have to buy it to watch it. Uh,
I think you can, like if you search hard enough, you can find it for free, like on YouTube or something.
I'm sure everything's on YouTube,
Yeah.
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
but it's
Got it.
definitely worth it. And don't watch it by yourself.
Get a group.
Get a group.
And
Get a
just
group.
and
Okay.
just and just like ambush them with this movie. Don't even tell them that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and hopefully nobody's seen it, and it is an experience. And you'll be scratching your head like, what's going on? Why is this happening?
Okay. Yeah, I'm done. All right. The Room. Who directed it?
Tommy
Tommy
Wiseau,
Wiseau, and he's the star of it.
he's a 50-year-old man playing a younger
40-year-old
man. With
Oh,
he's got a Romanian accent.
But he's playing an all-American boy.
Yes, it's even said that he's an all-American boy.
Yeah.
okay. It's already starting to sound a little like what? Okay.
It's a great movie. It's like cinematic genius.
Reverse genius.
No, it's cinematic genius. Like this guy is the smartest filmmaker of all time.
Sure.
No,
Oh,
I'm definitely gonna have to.
going back to Steve Martin movies, have you ever seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
No, I've heard of it.
Oh God, that's so
This one
good.
I have
It's him
not
with Michael
seen.
Caine.
That's a must.
Dirty
Yeah,
Rotten. I
just keep
haven't
writing
seen
down stuff.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead and start like a clean page, and I
it.
promise I will get around to watching Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it also has that lady. I forgot her name. She's like super like funny and sarcastic. She's tall. She has like short blonde hair.
Jane Lynch?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Jane Lynch.
Really?
Jane Lynch is in it too.
That was my guess. You said tall lady with short blonde hair, and I was like, Jane Lynch.
Oh wow,
Let's see if I'm right.
that'll be.
I'm sure I'm possibly right. I'm about to click on Only Murders in the Building on IMDb, and it's going to be full of spoilers. So
No, it's not. It's gonna be full of names.
I'm pretty sure it's Jane Lynch.
I don't see
What?
her.
Well,
Nathan Lane's in it. Oh.
Yes, he is. Yep.
sometimes IMDb doesn't list like the most important people in the right place.
Eh.
You're gonna have to do complete cast.
All right, top cast. Tina Fey. Sting.
Sting's in it?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
singer, not the wrestler.
Yep.
Well, that's who I thought you meant was the
Oh,
singer,
okay.
not the wrestler.
Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, Jane Lynch is there. Yes.
Yep. So she plays a very interesting role in the show. And with her humor, like, super dry, like it just fits really well. You have to watch it.
I'm trying to think. I think the first thing I ever saw her in was a 40-Year-Old Virgin, and it was
Yep.
like she's so bizarre and so mean. Actually, no, I take it back. She was in Best in Show.
I think I saw her first in the show Glee.
Oh, geez.
I've never watched that. I've heard it's good. Never watched it.
I didn't finish the show. It
Nobody
started
finished the show.
to dwindle off.
I mean, even the main cast didn't finish the show. They were just like, "We're out of here."
Yeah, there's a few deaths.
CW to like the superhero stuff.
No, that was.
I thought that like both the Flash and Supergirl came from that.
Well, Supergirl did, but like there was a whole bunch of it was MTV's Teen Wolf, where like all those people came from.
Ah.
Which I never saw a single episode of. I'm like, they're making a series of Teen Wolf? Why?
Yeah, that's another movie. Have you seen
Isn't
Teen Wolf?
No,
Teen Wolf's
I haven't
great.
watched the show.
You got to watch that. Just gonna keep recommending stuff.
we know you're not busy in any way, so you're gonna have time to watch all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's not like you're making movies and stuff or anything else. You got nothing but time to watch the movie.
Yeah. No, actually, once we get off of here, I'm gonna find one of these and watch them.
So, like, and I guess that does bring up, I guess, like, for you, since you're involved in so many projects, I mean, and I know, you obviously like movies. I mean, how do you find the time to, like, actually, do you, like, kind of just unwind at home, or do you, like, downtime, like, if you're on a set or, on the job, do you, watch them on an iPad or?
I'm definitely like a homebody. Anytime that I'm not working, I'm so introverted. I'm like a turtle in my shell, and that's when I'll play video games and I'll watch movies and I'll binge watch. Anytime that I have like a day free. My schedule is definitely about to become very hectic. I have like 10 or 11 projects slated all the way up through August.
Okay.
So I'm going to be going to
That's a lot.
I'm going to be going to Kentucky, to Ohio, Tennessee, here in North Carolina, Texas, Pennsylvania, Kentucky again, and then Kentucky again. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you're still
Yeah.
in North Carolina right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. So congratulations, you're our first guest that's actually in North Carolina.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, we had some
Yeah,
that were
born and
from North
raised.
Carolina, but not in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
we had people coming in from Burbank, and Lydia's in New York.
New York.
Mark's in Pennsylvania or Ohio.
He's Pennsylvania.
One
He's
of those.
near Pittsburgh or in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
So yeah, it's like all over, and it's like, and it's like, and I asked him earlier, he's like, Angel is in North Carolina, isn't she?
I was like, I
she's the
think so.
first
And
one.
I was like, I thought you said you lived near Raleigh or whatever. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Well, it's funny. We'll have another North Carolina one in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, technically next week for us, but for everybody else in a couple weeks. But
Who is it?
it's a friend of mine. Me and him both went to college with her.
Yeah,
Her
way
name's-
back, and
I think she goes by professionally Christine Ghostly.
Okay.
But like her last name is Lamb. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard of her.
Yeah,
She's with us. She's part of
okay.
she's part of our gang.
and that's the only way I can convince him to do an episode on Labyrinth.
Yeah, that's how we're bringing her on there because she loves Labyrinth.
And she's
That's the only way to convince you to do a show about Labyrinth? Come on.
we have to bring in another
I
friend
have to
of like
bring one of
20
my
years.
best friends.
So we got two of us had to basically force him to do it.
Which I'll be honest, Labyrinth is an easier sell for me because I like David Bowie. So Nah.
But interesting, like actually, Brian and I were talking earlier when you said you have like 11 or 12 projects coming up, like just over the next few months, and it was like, and I thought about it last night when we were talking to Lydia Manson, when she was bringing up projects, and it was like, it really does feel like, and me being a complete outsider to this, like this indie horror thing feels a lot like the slasher boom in the 80s. Like
Yeah.
you have a lot of stuff being made way outside of Hollywood, and a lot of like do it yourself kind of aesthetic to everything. Um, and it kind of amazed me the way that we've kind of gotten where technology has allowed that, like crowdfunding has allowed these projects to actually come to life. Cameras, digital cameras in general, just a you don't have to worry about sending a film to a lab or buying you know thousands of feet of film or anything. And
Oh, absolutely.
it's interesting how it's you see these, I guess, at the horror conventions, like a lot of the icons from back then. I know Lydia mentioned Felissa Rose, and
Yeah, Felissa Rose, Lisa Wilcox,
yeah, at least
Lynn
like,
Lowry.
and uh, now it's like you guys are going to these conventions, and it's almost like this is like a second wave that's kind of happening at this time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's kind of like the '80s is coming back, you know.
It never left.
Um,
Yeah.
No,
um,
Just like Cobra
yeah, but
Kai.
oh yeah, yeah.
from the 80s. I always joked it's like we were barely out of the 80s when we started having like nostalgia products based in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like if you've never seen The Wedding Singer, with Adam
With
Sandler,
Adam Sandler and
yeah,
Drew.
yeah, that movie came
Yeah.
out in 1997. It was only like set 12 years after the time that it's supposed to be taking place, or like it only came out 12.
Huh.
It was like, and I remember when it came out, and like Billy Idol shows up at the end. It's like, oh wow, he looks good for his age. I'm like,
He ain't that much older.
it's like
No.
Rebel was like 10 years ago, and it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, we were already doing like 80s nostalgia in the mid 90s.
I
So like,
really, I'm, I love that it's coming back because it's letting people, um, it's kind of introducing people like if they haven't seen like especially for the younger generation if they haven't seen any like original like 70s or like 80s movies, it brings them back, like into like a where it's relevant, and especially with all the conventions and stuff like um I mean there's such a huge gathering for like older movie, even ones that aren't horror, like Revenge of the Nerds.
Mhm.
Like there were so many people there just waiting, to meet, the cast and like Booger and,
Oh,
Ogre and all them. Like, um, I think it's really good, that this boom is happening now because it's just bringing everything else, where this is coming from. It's bringing it to light.
and one thing that I'm really strongly wanting to happen, and I'm not meaning remakes. I'm wanting slashers to make a strong comeback, and I mean like original slashers.
Yeah. I was talking to Paul about that the other day because like I actually just earned my first AD credit on
Oh
the
wow.
last project I was just working on. And in my head I'm like, man, like I feel like I could really create a character, like in my head I just had all these like gears turning and I had all these ideas, and yeah, I'm going to make it happen. Like
do it.
that's like
No,
the goal.
are you announcing this year?
Announcing it to the world. And all 18
Eventually,
of
I'm
our
gonna do
listeners.
something like
Just
that.
tell me that.
No, I'm sticking with it. Every one, we have 18 listeners.
If this goes on for 10 years, you're going to stick to 18.
I'm gonna stick to 18. That's what we got.
But yeah, it's really impressive, and um, just like also talking to Lydia, like just the amount of projects you guys are doing, and it's like,
I'm very grateful. Like I did not expect my life to be where it is today. Seriously. Like I'm even like I'm looking at an agent, like it's crazy. But I kind of need one because I have so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. Like, I mean, and I'm just making an assumption. You've never stepped a foot in Los Angeles, have you? No.
I've never been to
And
California.
there's no reason to go there for that either. I don't think. Like,
Yeah.
because clearly you're doing well without it.
And I mean, even on like the East Coast, like Wilmington is starting to, be booming again with productions. And then, of course you have Georgia, Atlanta.
Yeah, they film everything now.
Yeah, so like
And
I mean, eventually if I ever make it to LA, I mean, cool, great, wonderful,
I,
but I'm still happy where I'm at now.
I lived there for 5 years, and I can say I loved it. I absolutely loved it, but like I don't feel the need for career reasons to go there.
Yeah.
Um,
I've never been, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
Which that's not what I do anyway. So
Well, Angel, we haven't asked you this yet. We have been asking for like if anybody has any cool either. Well, we were calling them true Hollywood stories, but obviously they're not Hollywood. But it's like
cool,
celebrity stories or anything like that. That's cool.
cool or embarrassing or both.
Cool, embarrassing, fun, funny, anything like that.
Um, yeah. At least cool wise, I got to meet Art the Clown.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, cool.
I was his handler actually at Mad Monster Party in Charlotte, and I got to sit with him for 3 days.
Oh, that's nice.
And he is just the funniest, like just dude to sit next to. It just makes random faces
Yeah.
and like to his little horn, and he was just really cool. And he was my first experience as far as seeing how a celebrity acts with fans. He was super awesome with kids, younger kid fans would come up and
Please tell me it was a full get up.
no, he did a full get up for a photo op
Yeah.
that weekend. But he did have a little top hat and his little horn, and
Yeah.
he would just, make all the faces with the little kids. And he's just a really cool guy. He's really cool. Oh, and I got to meet Damien Leon, who created Art the Clown. Okay, funny story. So Damien was trying to explain to me how to do some SFX makeup, and he decided to draw it out, and this was his drawing.
That
And it says, "Don't be a perv."
that that's funny.
I told him,
Actually
I
may
was like,
reach out to him and try to get him on one eventually, but like I don't like I'm kind of wanting to do this thing where I don't get them to talk about their own projects. So I'm like, well, I don't know what movies he's interested in to get him to talk about. So I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna have to message him and be like, hey, what movies do you like? You want to be on this?
Or we'll just pull a movie off the shelf and it's like, watch that.
Well, I was thinking about get Damien Leone to talk about Ty West. I mean, something weird.
oh, right.
Well, I guess this episode was about the jerk because I think there was an assumption that it was. I guess it was a correct assumption that it's a movie you really like.
Yes.
So I think we did this with Lydia as well last night. Name, I guess, 5 movies that you would say, you don't have to rank them, but just like off the top of your head, 5 favorites. That
Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
one.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, you count
Dead
that as
Alive.
2? You count that as 1?
Count it as one. Count it as one. It's
Count
one.
as one. Yeah. Dead Alive.
Ooh.
I've only for the first time seen that recently.
What?
Yep. Just recently seen it for the first time. Probably a couple months ago.
Creepshow.
Oh, where's my...
And
Grab
the first one.
What?
The first
grab my
Creepshow.
pillow over there.
Where's it at?
I missed the last one you said because I was trying to grab a prop. This is my creep show pillow.
I love that.
I got a Creep Show comic that he bought me.
Yeah, which I
And
wanted to keep myself, but
Sucker Punch.
oh, I've never watched Sucker Punch.
I used to have a poster of that we stole from a bus stop.
Really?
Like me and my roommates, we would get drunk and do the stupidest stuff. So whenever I lived in California, we were just stumbling by. We just happened to see this, and we're like, unscrewed everything, took it out, took it home.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen. That was somebody else. Somebody else entirely. I'm making that up.
Statute of limitations is expired. It's so I mean, you mentioned Dead Alive and Lord of the Rings, so I get that you're a Peter Jackson fan.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we got a second episode.
How do you feel about the Frighteners?
Oh, I love the Frighteners.
Because I'm wanting to do an episode about the Frighteners.
Yeah, the Frighteners is great.
Yeah. So we're probably getting you back for several episodes, but I want to do one for Frighteners for sure.
As many episodes as your completely unbusy schedule allows for.
You're gonna have to do these episodes on film sets. You're like, hold on, guys, I can't act until I'm done.
I've got to talk about
bullshit
about Peter Jackson's bad taste or something. They got me talking about Meet the Feebles, which is going to be a feat because of the puppets.
I think another movie we should do is Willow.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
He's on board with that.
Yeah, I love Willow. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love Willow. I just watched it again when I was in Kentucky.
I can't wait for the series.
Yes, I know. Yeah. I know. But I do have to tell you guys, my phone is only on 15%.
Oh, okay.
And it might die.
So I guess we should wrap it up. B.
What?
That's a quote from
I guess we should wrap it up. Yeah.
So thanks for being up here and everything. And like,
what are you doing? Are you doing a bit?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Just say bye. Thank you for being up here. You let her pitch, her upcoming projects and her podcast again.
Yeah, all those things he just said.
Oof. Okay, I got Debbie Does Demons, Intinction, Wolf Hollow, Live, Laugh, Die, Sam Hain, Mothman. I can't even remember right now.
and your podcast, Scream Queens?
Yes, Killer Queens, Podcast of Screams.
Podcast of Screams.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody that's been watching us for watching another episode. Listening another episode. When they watch the clip. And do all those things that make it where you share it to people and all the good stuff. And we'll see you later.
Hear you later.
Yeah.